It's customary to introduce yourselves in Navajo first. So, she'enas ejatapahado na kaida na bashichin, kithlachitni dashache, ado ashit dashanala, tonahalida nashado kwakatlana dashagan. I'm White Corn Zuni Edgewater, born for those going home. My maternal grandparents are Red House and my paternal grandparents are Salt. I'm originally from the community of Tunalia, but I currently reside here in Flagstaff. It's one of those really special places in our culture, in our lives. The mountain, San Francisco Peaks, is sacred to 14 different tribes. It's home to 14 different tribes throughout the Southwest region. For us as Navajo people, it's our western mountain, and that mountain has characteristics to it where we identify it as like the mountain of education, the mountain of home, the mountain of community. Some of our deities exist here. And when I think about like how important it is, not just to Navajo or Diné people, I think about how other tribes look at this mountain. I know that like with the Hopi, this is their one mountain, right? And it's like the home to all of their kachinas, all of their deities. It's almost like Asgard or Mount Olympus to the Hopi people. And so, and to other tribes, not just Hopi, but to a multitude of tribes in this region. This is a home to their deities, and so they hold a real strong significance to like finding home and placement and being present with the mountain. Before there ever was a Flagstaff, those 14 tribes all lived in this region together, near one another collaboratively, even though they had distinct languages, distinct cultures, and maybe even had their own differences. They still lived and cohabitated in this space relatively peacefully. I brought my children up with the teachings that my grandmother gave me, that my great-grandmother modeled and exampled of, that those tribes that live next to us, whether they're Hopi, Paiute, Ute, Zuni, or anything else of that, any other tribe of that nature, they're all relatives to us. And they're all family, and so we have to continue to, live in that balance and that harmony with them. Flagstaff, literally, as our culture tells us that this mountain has become home for all of us, and it's given us a lot to develop our own way of being and our own understanding of who we are and how we're found our placement here in the universe and how we find ourselves in this space. The San Francisco Peaks, as it's known pretty much to everybody, holds different names for the different tribes. Like for Navajo people, we refer to her as Dook'o'oosłííd, and Dook'o'oosłííd simply means like shimmering mountaintop or snow-capped mountain. And my grandmother would tell the narrative of like, ever since she was a child, anytime she'd look to this mountain, look to this direction of the mountain, it always had snow, even in the summertime. It gives me the opportunity as a parent, as an adult, to tell my children the same stories that my grandmother would tell me and say, this is what she was talking about, that snow-capped mountain, and the importance of why it's like that. What we've seen happen with Arizona Snow Bowl and its expanded plan and all of the things that it's been doing since 2005 and the 2005 ruling, is that that corporation keeps moving that metric of like, here's the line of what you agreed to, and they kept moving it further than what was agreed upon. Just a few years ago, they acted on the plan, the decision to make a parking lot, and they were going to impact little over 3.5 acres. Well, they end up impacting almost 15 acres of space. Now, yes, they're operating within that 777 acres that was decided on back in the 70s, but every little thing that they do to that mountain changes everything down at the base of the mountain, downstream even. San Francisco Peak, Dook'o'oosłííd, is unique in Arizona because of its height, the elevation that it reaches. All of the storms that come in from the California coast or even up from the Pacific, when they hit this region, it leaves an abundance of rainfall, of snow that feed into the mountain, which is volcanic and porous, and it goes down into the groundwater systems, and 1,000 feet below us, water runs east. Another 1,000 feet below that, it runs west. And so it feeds into the Little Colorado, it feeds into the Greater Grand Canyon. And so whatever we do to the very top of the mountain, even at the base of the mountain, doesn't just impact the mountain itself, it's impacting the whole region all the way around us. Almost like a 100-mile radius of this mountain and the groundwater system. Navajo Nation did a kind of a survey and shared information with the community and told us that in our community we get about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rainfall a year. And my community is called Tunalia, where the water comes together. Dook'o'oosłííd, this area of Flagstaff, gets anywhere from 6 to sometimes 15 inches of rainfall a year. And we don't treat that water with the same respect that it deserves. And so with Snowbowl, they're operating on this capitalistic system. They want to have more people coming up. They want to extend their ski season. They want to make more money without any regard to the impacts that ski economic venture, whatever they want to call it, does to our community, does to nature.